The war began on a quiet morning.
Captain Aaron Vale stood on the command deck of the human battleship Resolute Dawn. The stars outside were calm, endless, peaceful. Nobody knew that in the next few hours the peace of 3 galaxies would shatter. The humans had always been outsiders in the Galactic Council, new members from a small blue planet. The older species laughed at them, calling them primitive mammals. They had faster ships, smarter AI, and armies made of living machines. Humanity had only courage, and that courage was often mistaken for stupidity. But that day, something unexpected happened. A distress signal came from the Vaylen Empire, one of the most powerful alien civilizations in the Council. Their king had died suddenly, and chaos followed. The Council prepared to divide the Empire's riches, but there was a problem: the king's will. The message was short, written in glowing Vaylen symbols. My fortune and legacy go to the human named Aaron Vale, along with my daughter, Princess Seraya. The council laughed for hours. A human inheriting a Vaylen princess? Absurd. Even Aaron didn't believe it at first. He had fought beside the Vaylen years ago in a forgotten battle, saving the king's life during a doomed defense. He never expected a rewarding, and definitely not this. The Galactic Council declared a special meeting. Hundreds of alien ambassadors gathered in a massive floating chamber above the planet Calrith. The air shimmered with light from alien gases, and the sound of dozens of tongues filled the space. The Vaylen Chancellor floated forward, a being with 6 eyes and skin like molten metal. The late king's will, he said coldly, is legally binding. The human captain is now heir to his bloodline, and bound by ancient law to marry Princess Seraya. The chamber burst into laughter. Some laughed at the idea of a human prince. Others whispered in disgust. An ape with a crown, someone hissed. Truly the king's final joke. Aaron stood silently in the center. He wasn't there for glory or power, but he remembered the king's dying words. Promise me. Protect her. The next day, the council guards escorted him to the Vaylen Palace on their homeworld, a planet of golden deserts and blue suns. The city rose like a dream made of glass and metal. But inside it felt like a tomb. The royal guards looked at Aaron with contempt. The Vaylen people had refused to mourn. They were ashamed that their princess was promised to a human. When the massive doors opened, Aaron saw her for the first time. Princess Seraya, the ugly daughter. Her skin glowed faint blue, her eyes pale as starlight. She was delicate but strong, wearing a silver gown that shimmered faintly in the dim hall. The room was silent as she stepped forward. Aaron felt the tension, the judgment, the hidden laughter. This is the one? She asked, her voice calm, distant. Aaron nodded slightly. Yes, I didn't ask for this, but I gave your father my word. Her expression softened for a moment and then turned cold again. They called me cursed, she whispered.
Now they'll call me worse. Outside, a storm of sand and fire brewed.
Unknown to everyone, the council's mockery had already started a chain reaction. Rival factions of the Vaylen Empire rose in rebellion, declaring the king's inheritance a fraud. They would rather burn their world than let a human sit on its throne. As Aaron and Seraya stood together for the first time, the palace shook. The guards shouted. Explosions echoed across the horizon. The war had begun. Aaron grabbed Seraya's arm and pulled her toward cover. What's happening? He shouted. They're coming for you, she said. The council will not let a human rule. You have no idea what you've inherited. In the chaos, she looked back at the flames consuming her father's palace. Her people were turning against her. And the human beside her was the only one who didn't laugh. Somewhere deep inside, a new bond was forming. Not of politics or inheritance, but of survival. As the skies burned above them, Aaron knew this was only the beginning. He didn't just inherit a princess. He had inherited a war. The palace burned for 3 days. From the high dunes, Aaron and Seraya watched the golden towers collapse into smoke and fire. The royal banners that once waved with pride now lay torn in the sand. The great empire of Vaylen was eating itself alive. Aaron adjusted his armor, his face covered with dust. His communicator was dead. The human fleet was far away, too far to help. Every nearby ship was either destroyed or had turned against him. Seraya stood quietly beside him. Her silver gown was darkened by soot, her hair tangled by the desert wind. She didn't speak for a long time. When she finally did, her voice was calm but heavy. "My father trusted you," she said. "Do you know why?" Aaron looked at her. "He said I saved his life once." She shook her head. "No, he said you were the only one who didn't see him as a king. You saw him as a man." Aaron didn't answer. He watched the burning city again, the screams echoing across the sand. "If he was right," he said, "then I can't let his daughter die." Seraya looked at him, unsure whether to believe him. All her life, people had looked at her with disgust or pity. Her blue skin and pale eyes were seen as a curse by her people, a strange mutation in the royal line. They called her the Ash Princess, a reminder of something broken. Now she stood next to a human soldier who didn't flinch at the sight of her. The desert wind carried the sound of engines. In the distance, black ships approached, Vaylen war cruisers bearing the mark of the rebel faction. Their leader, General Kor, had declared himself the new king. His first order: capture the human and execute the princess. Aaron checked his blaster and powered up his armor's shields. "We need to move now." They ran across the dunes, heading toward the old royal hangar, half buried under the sands. The heat was intense, the air full of dust and static. Seraya stumbled, unused to such harsh ground, but Aaron caught her hand each time. When they reached the hangar, it looked dead. Rusted metal doors, shattered glass, sand everywhere. Aaron forced the control panel open and connected his wrist device. A flicker of light appeared. A small drone activated. Scanning him. Identity confirmed. Captain Aaron Vale. Access granted. The doors creaked open, revealing a hidden ship, and small, sleek, built for speed. Seraya stared at it. "This is one of the last Royal Scouts." Aaron smiled faintly. "Then it's our ticket out." They boarded quickly. As the engines roared to life, Seraya sat near the front console, her hands shaking slightly. Outside, the enemy cruisers were closing in, firing plasma bursts that lit up the night. Aaron pushed the throttle forward. The ship shot into the sky, weaving between explosions. He had flown through war zones before, but this was different. He was protecting something more than his own life. Seraya looked out of the window, eyes wide as the planet's surface fell away beneath them. "Where will we go?" Aaron focused on the stars ahead. "Anywhere the Council can't find us." The ship broke through the atmosphere and into space. Behind them, the Vaylen homeworld burned, the once great empire reduced to chaos. Seraya pressed her hand against the glass. A tear slid down her cheek. "They will call me a traitor," she whispered. Aaron glanced at her. "Let them. You're alive. That's what matters." They drifted in silence for a while, the hum of the engines the only sound. Then Seraya turned toward him. "You don't understand what you've done," she said. "By inheriting my father's will, you've inherited the crown protocol. Every surviving Vaylen lord will come for you. They think the one who controls me controls the empire." Aaron leaned back, sighing. "Then we'll have to convince them otherwise." She gave a small, tired smile. "You think like a soldier, not like a ruler." "Good," he said, "because I don't plan to be one." But fate had other plans. As they entered deep space, an alert flashed across the screen, an incoming transmission. It was from the Galactic Council itself. Aaron hesitated before opening it. The hologram flickered, revealing the face of a tall alien ambassador with crimson eyes. "Captain Vale," the voice said smoothly, "you have violated interstellar law. By harboring the Vaylen heir, you've declared war against the Council." Seraya's breath caught. "No, they wouldn't." Aaron clenched his fists. "They would." The message ended abruptly. Outside, dozens of ships appeared from hyperspace, Council warships, sleek and massive. They surrounded Aaron's tiny craft like sharks circling prey. Seraya whispered, "They mean to destroy us." Aaron stared at the approaching ships, then at her. His voice was steady. "Not today." He pulled a lever and the small ship dove sharply into a debris field. Lasers streaked past. Alarms blared. The galaxy outside turned into chaos again. Fire, metal, and light. Inside the cockpit, two unlikely souls, a human and an alien princess, sat side by side, defying the laughter of the galaxy that had already judged them. And in that moment, a spark of destiny began to burn, something far greater than war or inheritance, something that would soon change the galaxy forever. The ship drifted silently through the debris field, hidden among the ruins of old battles. Pieces of metal, Shattered satellites and broken war machines floated all around them, glowing softly in the starlight. The air inside the ship was tense. Only the sound of the engines and Seraya's quiet breathing filled the space. Aaron stared at the radar screen. The Council warships were still searching, their scanners sweeping through the field like hunting lights. "They'll find us soon," he said quietly. Seraya sat beside him holding a small crystal pendant, the only thing she had taken from her father's chambers before the palace burned. The crystal pulsed faintly with blue light. "My father gave me this before he died," she whispered. "He said it would show me the truth when the time was right." Aaron glanced at it. "What truth?" She looked unsure. "I don't know." But he said, "Only the one who shares his honor can open it." Aaron raised an eyebrow. "And you think that's me?" She hesitated. "He trusted you more than anyone in the council. Maybe he saw something that I couldn't." The ship shook slightly as a blast hit nearby. One of the council ships had fired into the debris, hoping to flush them out. Aaron gritted his teeth. "We can't stay here." He steered the ship deeper into the field, dodging wreckage. Sparks flew as metal scraped their hull. The engines roared louder, and finally, after a few tense minutes, the radar went clear. They had escaped. For now. Seraya finally stood up and walked to the back of the ship. There was a small table covered in dust and old tools. She placed the glowing crystal there and looked at it for a long moment. Aaron followed her. "What are you doing?" "Trying to understand my father's last words," she said softly. "He said the future of two races depends on this secret." The light inside the crystal grew brighter as if it heard her voice. Then suddenly it projected a small hologram into the air, the image of the late King Vaylen himself. Seraya gasped. Aaron stepped closer. The king's image looked tired, older than they remembered. His voice was deep but weak. "If you are seeing this, then I am gone." "My daughter, Seraya, and my friend Captain Vale, you must listen carefully." Aaron froze. "He mentioned my name. The council has been lying. The humans are not outsiders, they are our origin. Long ago, before the first galactic age, our ancestors came from Earth. The Vaylen are not aliens. We are what humanity became, changed by time and stars." Seraya's eyes widened. "That's impossible." But the hologram continued. "I discovered the truth in forbidden archives. The council destroyed the records to keep power. They fear the humans when they fear what they represent, the strength to unite all races again. That's why they mock them. That's why they mock you, my daughter." Aaron felt the room spin. The humans, descendants of the same root as the Vaylen. The same blood separated by ages. "I chose you, Aaron Vale," the king said, "because you reminded me of what we once were, brave, loyal, and unbroken. Together you and Seraya must protect the legacy of both worlds. The council will hunt you, but the truth will protect you if you can reach the core vault." The hologram faded. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The silence felt heavy, almost unreal. Aaron finally said, "If this is true, then everything the council built is a lie." Seraya nodded slowly. "And that's why they want us dead." The ship's lights flickered again. Power levels were dropping. Aaron moved to the controls. "We need to find somewhere to land. Somewhere safe." "There's a mining moon nearby," Seraya said, checking the nav map. "Abandoned for years. We can hide there." Aaron adjusted the course. "Then that's where we're going." As the ship turned toward the moon, Seraya touched the crystal once more. It was dim now, the message complete. Her mind was racing. Her father's words echoed again and again. If humans and Vaylen shared the same beginning, then all the hatred, all the laughter, all the cruelty meant nothing. It was fear pretending to be pride. When they landed on the dark, frozen moon, the ship powered down completely. They stepped out into the silence of an empty world. The ground was covered in frost, and strange glowing minerals dotted the caves. Aaron looked around cautiously. "We can stay here until we fix the ship." Seraya nodded. "And after that?" Aaron met her eyes. "We find that core vault. Whatever your father wanted us to see, it's the only way to end this." For the first time, Seraya smiled faintly. "You talk like a soldier again," he smiled back. "Old habits." But far above the silent moon, a small council probe had already detected their ship's energy trail. It sent a signal across the stars, carrying one word to the council's fleet: found. The mining moon was silent, a ghost of what it once had been. Rusting machines lay half buried under ice, and dark tunnels ran deep into the rock. The weak light from the distant sun barely touched the frozen surface. Aaron and Seraya stepped out of the ship, their boots crunching against frost. Aaron scanned the area with his wrist device. No life signs, no power. We're safe for now. Seraya looked around. This place feels old. It is, Aaron said. Before the Vaylen Empire rose, humans used to mine worlds like this. Maybe this one was theirs too. They entered the nearest tunnel. The walls glittered faintly with blue crystals that hummed softly as they walked past. It felt like the planet itself was whispering to them. After a few minutes, they reached an old control station buried in ice. Aaron brushed the dust off an ancient console and connected his wrist device. The screen blinked weakly to life, showing a strange symbol. Not alien, but unmistakably human. Seraya's eyes widened. That's Earth's old language. Aaron nodded slowly. Looks like your father was right. He opened a log file. A shaky recording appeared. A human scientist speaking to the camera, her voice echoing in the empty tunnel. Project Genesis Log 47. The Council has ordered us to abandon the mines. They fear what we found here. If anyone ever sees this, know that the core vault is real. It holds the code of our beginning, and maybe our end. The video ended abruptly. Seraya whispered, "They erased everything." Aaron stared at the frozen monitor. "And your father tried to bring it back." Outside, the wind howled across the moon's surface. They returned to the ship to rest. The heater hummed softly, filling the small cabin with warmth. Seraya sat near the window, staring at the stars. "Do you ever wonder why you fight?" she asked. Aaron looked up from the control panel. "Every day. And? I fight because someone has to. Not for medals. Not for orders, just because running never changes anything." She smiled faintly. "My father said something similar once." For a moment, the silence between them felt peaceful. But the calm didn't last. An alarm beeped softly. A motion sensor. Aaron turned to the screen. "Something's moving outside." He grabbed his blaster and opened the hatch carefully. Cold air rushed in. The surface was quiet, but in the distance he saw small red lights flickering through the mist. Drones. He pulled Seraya behind cover. "They found us." The drones moved fast, scanning the ground with red beams. Aaron fired first, taking one down. The others turned instantly, shooting back with burning plasma. The sound echoed across the valley. Seraya tried to help, using a small energy shield from the ship's toolkit to block the shots. One blast hit nearby, sending a shockwave that threw her to the ground. Seraya. Aaron ran to her, shielding her with his body as another drone exploded above them. Finally, he hit the last one, blasting it out of the sky. Silence returned. Smoke and the smell of melted metal filled the air. Seraya sat up slowly. "Are you hurt?" Aaron shook his head. "No, you?" She smiled weakly. "Still alive. That counts." He helped her back to the ship. Inside, he checked the damage, and the scanners were fried and one engine had taken a hit. "They'll send more," Aaron said. "We need to move." "We can't, not yet," Seraya replied. "The engine's cooling core is damaged. If we leave now, it'll explode." Aaron clenched his fist. "Then we fix it fast." They worked side by side, tools in hand, sweat mixing with dust and fear. As they worked, Aaron noticed something odd in Seraya's pendant. The crystal flickered again, as if reacting to the energy in the air. "Your pendant's glowing," he said. Seraya looked at it. It's never done that before. The light grew brighter until the crystal floated from her hand, projecting a map into the air. Aaron recognized it instantly. It showed the mining moon with a deep underground chamber marked in red. "The core vault," he whispered. Seraya's voice trembled. "It's here, beneath us." Before they could speak again, a new voice came through the comm system. Cold and sharp. "Captain Vale, Princess Seraya. I advise surrender." Aaron froze. The voice was familiar. He pressed the receiver. "Lieutenant Reese? Is that you?" "It was once. But I serve the Council now," the voice replied. "Your father's secrets end today. Hand over the princess." Aaron's heart sank. Reese had been his friend during the war, the man who had saved his life more than once. He looked at Seraya. "They've sent my own people." Outside, bright lights pierced the fog as Council troops landed on the moon. Seraya gripped his arm. "They're not your people anymore." Aaron stared through the window at the approaching soldiers. He could see the glint of their weapons and the flag of the Galactic Council waving behind them. He whispered, "Then it's time they remember what a human can do." He powered up the remaining defense guns of the ship. The night filled with thunder again. Laser fire streaked through the dark. The war that began with laughter was about to ignite once more, this time on a frozen moon, where truth slept under the ice, waiting to be found. The battle outside the ship raged like thunder. Blasts of plasma hit the rocks, lighting the frozen valley in flashes of blue and red. Aaron fired from the ship's defense turrets, each shot echoing across the empty moon. The air smelled of smoke and burning metal. "More are coming," Seraya shouted from the controls. "Hold the shields!" Aaron yelled back, reloading his weapon. The council soldiers were everywhere now, armored, efficient, moving like machines. They advanced through the mist, firing with perfect aim. Aaron ducked behind a rock and took 3 down before his blaster overheated. The ground shook suddenly. A bright beam from the enemy's main ship hit the surface near them, throwing ice and dust into the air. Aaron grabbed Seraya's hand. "We can't win this out here. We need to go down to the core vault." She nodded. "Follow the map. The entrance is inside the mine tunnel." They ran together through the chaos, dodging fire and explosions. The tunnel door was half buried under rubble. Aaron used a small charge to blast it open. They slipped inside as another beam struck behind them, sealing the way with falling ice. Darkness swallowed them. Aaron turned on his wrist light. The walls shimmered faintly, covered with symbols, not alien, but ancient human. Seraya touched the carvings with her fingers. "These words? They're your language." "Old Earth Standard." Aaron read one out loud. "We are the seeds of the stars." They walked deeper, following the glow from Seraya's pendant. The air grew warmer and strange lights pulsed from the walls, like veins carrying living energy. Finally, they reached a vast chamber, the core vault. It was enormous, circular and filled with tall pillars of glowing glass. In the center stood a crystal sphere, floating above a pedestal. Energy arced around it like lightning caught in slow motion. Seraya stepped forward carefully. "This is it." "My father was right." Aaron looked around. "Whatever this is, it's alive." As Seraya approached the sphere, her pendant floated from her neck and merged with it. The chamber hummed louder. The glass pillars lit up one by one, showing images. Humans leaving Earth, ships crossing galaxies, transforming into new forms, new species. Seraya's voice trembled. "The beginning of both our races." The sphere spoke, not with sound, but directly into their minds. "You are the children of one world." The council betrayed the truth. Balance must be restored. Aaron staggered. The voice was powerful, ancient. "Who are you?" "I am the memory. I hold the DNA of origin, the code that unites what was divided." Seraya looked at Aaron. "This is what my father wanted us to find. Proof that humans and Vaylen are one." The chamber's light shifted suddenly. The air cracked with heat as footsteps echoed from behind them. Aaron spun around. Council soldiers filled the doorway, weapons raised. At their front stood Lieutenant Reese. His face was cold, his armor polished with the council symbol. "Step away from the core," he said. "It belongs to the council." Aaron glared at him. "You used to fight beside me, Reese. You know what this means." "I know it means chaos," Reese replied. "If people learn the truth, everything collapses. The council keeps order." "You'll destroy that," Seraya stepped forward. "Order built on lies is not order. It's a cage." Reese's eyes softened for a moment, then hardened again. "I'm sorry." He raised his gun. Aaron moved instantly, firing back. The blast hit Reese's shoulder and the soldiers scattered. A firefight erupted in the glowing chamber. Bolts of light struck the walls, sending shards of crystal flying. Seraya ran to the pedestal, trying to protect the core. The memory's voice echoed again. "One choice decides the future. Join the code, or let it die." Aaron ducked behind a pillar. "Seraya, what does it mean?" "It means," she shouted, "the core needs both of us. Human and Vaylen blood to awaken it." Reese heard her and aimed directly at the sphere. "Then I'll end this right now." Before he could fire, Aaron leapt from cover, tackling him to the ground. They struggled, fists and metal clashing. Reese was stronger, but Aaron's fury was unmatched. "You betrayed everything we fought for," Aaron shouted. "I did what I had to." Reese yelled back, punching him. The fight ended when Seraya fired a small energy pulse from her pendant. It struck Reese's weapon, melting it. He fell back unconscious. Aaron, breathing hard, turned to her. "Do it, activate it." Seraya stepped toward the sphere. Her hand shook as she placed it on the glowing surface. Aaron placed his hand beside hers. The light grew so bright it filled the entire chamber. Energy flowed through them, warmth, pain, memory. For a moment, they saw everything. Earth's first colonies, the rise of the Vaylen, the birth of the Council, the centuries of lies. Then, silence. The sphere dimmed, its light fading to a calm glow. The walls of the vault shifted, revealing a massive data crystal now connected to Seraya's pendant. Seraya looked at Aaron, her eyes shining. "It's done. The truth is ours," Aaron nodded. "Then we tell the galaxy." But above them, through miles of rock and ice, engines thundered. The Council fleet had found them, Seraya whispered. "They're coming." Aaron loaded his blaster again. "Then let's make sure they never take this from us." Outside, the frozen moon began to tremble, as if the vault's awakening had stirred something far greater than both of them. The moon trembled like a living thing. Cracks spread across the ice as the core vault's energy spread outward, waking something ancient beneath the surface. Blue light flashed through the tunnels, reaching up into the dark sky. Aaron and Seraya stood at the vault's entrance, breathing hard. The power of the core had filled their bodies. It felt like electricity and fire running through their veins. Above them, the Council fleet appeared like a wall of stars. Dozens of massive ships hovered over the moon, their lights glowing cold and merciless. Seraya stared up. "They won't let us live." Aaron's voice was calm. "Then we don't die for nothing." He activated the ship's comm channel. Static hissed for a moment before clearing. The screen lit up with the face of the Council Admiral, a tall being with gold eyes and a voice like steel. "Captain Vale, Princess Seraya, you have stolen forbidden technology and committed treason against the Council. Surrender and your deaths will be quick." Aaron smiled faintly. "You still think we're afraid of you?" "You should be." Before the Admiral could continue, Seraya stepped forward. "The Council has lied for centuries," she said, her voice echoing through the channel. "You built your power on the ruins of truth. But now everyone will know. The core is awakened and it carries your history." The Admiral's face twisted in anger. "Destroy them." Every ship above the moon charged their cannons. The sky filled with light. Aaron turned to Seraya. "We can't fight all of them." Seraya held the glowing data crystal close to her chest. "We don't have to. We just have to make sure the truth escapes." Aaron understood immediately. He ran to the control console inside the vault. The ancient system still glowed with soft blue energy. "If I connect this to our ship's beacon, the core can broadcast across the galaxy." Seraya smiled faintly. "Then do it." He began typing commands, his fingers shaking. The vault's lights pulsed faster. Energy surged into the ship above, linking with its communication array. Outside, the first wave of plasma fire struck. The ground shook violently. The cave ceiling began to crumble. Aaron shouted, "It's working!" "Keep the link stable." Seraya spread her hands, using her pendant to channel the core's power. Her eyes glowed white-blue, her skin shining like starlight. The core's hum grew into a roar. Across the galaxy, signals burst through every network. Ancient images, genetic records, and messages from the past. Billions saw them at once. Proof that humans and Vaylen were of one origin, one bloodline, one beginning. On distant worlds, soldiers lowered their weapons in confusion. Civilians wept. The truth spread like light through darkness, but the Council's ships kept firing. The vault walls cracked open and energy flooded upward in blinding waves. Seraya fell to her knees, her strength fading. Aaron rushed to her, catching her before she hit the ground. "Stay with me!" She smiled weakly. "You kept your promise." Aaron looked at her, his heart heavy. "We're not done yet." He lifted her carefully and carried her toward the ship. Behind them, the core erupted, a column of blue fire shooting into the sky, tearing through the clouds. The Council fleet tried to pull back, but the energy wave hit them head-on. One by one, their ships shut down, not destroyed, but disarmed. Their systems went dark as the core's light spread across them, rewriting their codes with the truth of unity. From the window of his small ship, Aaron saw the fleet drifting, silent and powerless. He turned to Seraya. Her eyes were closed, but her hand still glowed faintly with the core's light. You did it, he whispered. You changed everything. She opened her eyes slowly, her voice barely a whisper. Not me, us. Outside, the blue light faded into the stars, leaving only calm silence. The war was over. The lies were gone. Aaron looked out at the galaxy, now bright, alive, new. For the first time, humanity was not the outsider anymore. They were part of something greater, something ancient and shared. He whispered softly, "The galaxy will never laugh at us again." Seraya smiled one last time. Then our father's wish came true. The ship rose gently from the moon's surface. Behind them, the core vault sealed itself, its light fading into peace. As they flew into the endless starlight, two figures, a human and an alien princess once called ugly, had become the symbols of a new age. The galaxy would remember their names forever. And in every corner of space, from Earth to the farthest stars, a new story began, and a story of hope, truth, and unity. A story of humans and Vaylen,